All right, here we go. Pardon the delay, and yeah, I was on another call and also trying to get this set up, the software, etc. Anyways, excuses. Welcome everybody. I am Curls and Makeup, aka Josie. Hello, and Mark. Hello. Anyone else? Hello, and thank you for watching. I'm going to do a reading tonight. Phew. I feel like it's been more than 24 hours since the last reading I did, and yeah, we've learned a lot. So, I guess the plan tonight is to mainly look at Europe and what's going on. Like, I have a lot of kind of an outline of some things I want to look at in Europe. For example, the UK, obviously. Uh, um, yeah, anything else in Europe, really? Ukraine, the overall economy of the EU. I put Israel on there. Technically not part of Europe, but they're having elections. I don't remember when. Oh, hi, Sandy. Um, yeah, so by the way, I kind of set up my screen a little better now so I can see myself. I can see the comments all in one area. Boring details, you guys don't need to know. But Italy, they're also, along with UK, coming into a new government. So yeah, anything relating to Europe and the world, if it's something that seems a little too big of a topic, I may just do a quick reading on it here and save for another reading. For example, Taiwan came up in a previous one. I still want to do a more recent reading on Taiwan. And yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know in the comments, and we'll take it from here. I'm doing this a little later than I usually do, so I'm a little not tired, but I'm gonna go as late as rock and roll, however late we can. But I guess I'm gonna begin. Uh, we're at the end of October, almost Halloween, pre-Halloween, and oh, for those of you, anyone watching that cannot comment, you need to be subscribed to comment, and I think you only have to subscribe for like 1 minute, so it's not that difficult to subscribe and comment. I think I'm going to begin with, actually I'm going to wait a minute longer before I begin, just to, I feel like I'm still in another headspace because I was on that call, but yeah, yesterday when I streamed, I don't know if anyone witnessed this. I'm sure some people did, but I was having some streaming issues in that I thought I wasn't streaming, and I was like, for like 20 minutes I think it streamed, and then I don't know if there were two streams going on. It was a mess, so I deleted the second stream. But I don't care about like having the stream on when I think it's not on. I'm not doing anything exciting, but I think I had an interview going in the background with Ariel Pink, who I mean, he's a great musician, but he's a pretty fringe. Um, his ideas are pretty crackpot sometimes. So like having that blare in the stream at the beginning of the stream, I didn't want people to think I'm like advocating any of his ideas by any means. Um, anyways, that's just where my mind's at. So anyways, I think I'm getting the hang of this streaming stuff a little more now. This is only like my 5th stream, and yeah. I see, Sandy, you're in Australia. Anyone else? I like to hear where people are at, what part of the world. So if anyone else wants to shout out where they're at, I'm always curious. And that kind of gives me an idea of what people are interested in hearing about in this reading. I mean, this reading is going to be mainly on Europe, but future readings, areas of the world that interest you. All right, I think I'm ready. Yeah, I think I'm ready. I feel like I'm in a good state of mind. I usually am. Like when I look at things happening online, it just seems like there's so much more turmoil than I experience in a general day to day. I mean, I'm aware of like things going on, and like when I walk around, I'm in Italy still, and when I walk around here, people seem like they're just kind of down. Oh, you're in Michigan, I see. Curls and Makeup. um, that's a great handle. You should leave that. Curls and Makeup's a good handle. Michigan. I have been to Michigan once. Ann Arbor and Detroit. I think that's it. Yeah. And about 10 years ago. Okay, so why don't we take a look first at the UK, and if anyone has any deeper questions relating to the UK, just let me know. Mark, I see you're in the UK. Okay, so Mark, you are in the UK. That's great. You probably know Mark more about, you do know more about UK politics, I'm sure. I mean, I know that. What do I know? That basically, Rishi Sunak is the new prime minister, and that's about all I know. I mean, he's with the Tories, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now. But if there's anything else more specific you want to know about UK, I think I'm going to take a look at first Rishi Sunak and whether he will last longer than Liz Truss did. When I did my reading on that election, whether Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak would win the election, I did predict that she would win, and she did, but I did not really take a look at how long she would last. I think maybe I should do that with Rishi Sunak. So let's see if he will last through the majority of, he will last into 2023 and through most of 2023. Hello, Christy from Wisconsin. I'm glad, at this level of the stream, I don't have enough people watching that I can respond very quickly to every comment, which may not be the case in the future, but who knows. Okay, so back to Rishi Sunak. Let's look at how his longevity is as leader of the Tory party in the UK. Okay, that came out. All right, so I'm seeing the Two of Discs. Yeah. Two of Discs is a card that, camera's here. As you can see, this guy is has his hands full. He's very busy, so I think he's going to be very busy. And as a disc card, it is a fairly firm platform. So I think, though sometimes when I see this card, I think of it as kind of handcuffs, because the guy has his hands so busy that he's not getting much done. So I'm not seeing a lot happening in the way of much progress with under Rishi Sunak. So let's take a look at the economy under him. But I would say, though, based on this, that he's going to last longer than Liz Truss. I do see him lasting into 2023, for a good part of 2023 at least. Let's look at the economy, though, under him. Will it improve? Get worse? He inherits a lot of problems, from what I understand. And I don't see an easy fix with the UK economy. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert on UK politics by any means, but I am an expert on energy reading. Okay, there we go. I grabbed two cards, and sometimes I take that as a sign that both cards were part of the reading. So I should show you. I'm saying the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Again, this is for the UK economy under Rishi Sunak, and I would say overall this looks positive. Ace of Swords usually indicates a new beginning, a new organizational principle, a new plan. And Queen of Wands has a lot of creative energy coming into it. So overall, I would say this does look positive for the UK economy. I think I don't see any negative aspects of this in the immediate present. So again, this is looking at 2023. I think it's going to look more positive than 2022. I think that's the thing that people are most concerned about, obviously, is the economy, inflation. Let me take a look at inflation specifically in the UK. And then I think, that came out. With inflation, though, I'm seeing a 7 of discard, 7 of pentacles. And this is, I don't see a lot of change in inflation. I don't see it really moving out. So coupled with these cards, I think we're seeing like the formation of a plan and some good ideas, but I think a lot of 2023 is going to be this very sluggish energy in which people are just basically plowing through like this guy and plodding along, and not a very exciting in terms of reining in inflation and getting things better there. I don't really have a lot in terms of the UK that I can think of right now, but if anyone else does, I can come back to it too. Just let me know. But I think right now I'm going to jump away from that and take a look at some other stuff. So let's see. Oh, before I go on, I always have to put in my plug for my Super Peer readings. As always, if you want a personal tarot reading, you can always contact me on superpeer.com/AdamSavage for any issue in your life that you want a reading. Just contact me there, and that's that. I made these. I made the starting soon one, and I made another one. Be right back in case I ever need to leave in an emergency or something. Exciting. Okay, let's take a look. I think I'm going to jump before I get to the Ukraine war, which I will. But I want to look at this Israel election. I don't even know. I know, Benjamin Netanyahu, it's quite a tongue twister for me to say, is running, but I don't remember the other guy's name. Let me look that up real quick. I also need to figure out if I want to share my screen, how to do that. I shall in future. Or if anybody knows off the top of their head. Netanyahu and cannot find the other guy's name. Somebody tell me the other guy's name. Why don't we start with Netanyahu, and then hopefully by the time I get to the other guy, we'll have his name. Israel. I don't know. Is he president? No, I don't think he's president. Prime Minister? The election 2022. Is it Yair Lapid? All right. I'm not finding it, so I'm going to come back to that. That's what I get for not looking it up beforehand. All right. Why don't we look then instead at, I was going to look at Italy because they too have come into new government under, I know her last name is Giorgia Meloni. That's right. Yeah, so under Giorgia Meloni, what can we expect overall pattern of her party's rule? So the overall energy I'm seeing for that is a 6 of Pentacles, which is overall like a pretty good, it's about justice and providing to people and acting in a positive way. So I think a lot of people are afraid because her government is, I mean, I've heard it described as far right. So some people that frightens. But from this, it seems like a more moderate view than I think a lot of people are fearing. Let's take a look at the economy under her. Oh, I'm seeing Three of Cups. Interesting. So again, I know Italy's economy has not always been the best in the last few years, but overall, this looks more positive than I had expected. And again, like my ideas about what things are and how they should be, the tarot often corrects me and allows me to see things a little better. And yeah, overall, this looks more positive for Italy than I would have expected. Uh, like I said, the overall energy I get when I see people on the street here is kind of, I don't know, it just feels kind of low and muted, muted in a lot of ways. But I don't know, this looks more hopeful than I had expected. All right, I think I'm going to jump to the overall economy of EU. 1 second. And if there are, like I said before, if there are any specific countries or areas you want to know about in Europe or anywhere, just let me know. But I'm focusing on Europe. I think though I want to look at the overall economy between now and the end of 2023. So I've done readings on the economy before. I've admitted this, that my economy readings are not always my best because I have trouble with such a large pattern of energy. I see, when I look at individuals, I see very clearly. When I look at even cities or places, countries, I can look at very clearly. But when I get to the economy, that's just millions of people, millions of interactions that they're like, it's like dominoes. They behave in very complicated ways. I can hear upstairs, I think someone's vacuuming. Okay, so the overall energy in 2023 for the EU is, I'll be looking at the Ukraine war next to see how that affects. I want to look at Russia too and see their economy. I was kind of distracted. I'm going to do, this is the more traditional way that I've done this. I like to show it. I feel like when I do it this way, I can actually feel you guys watching the energy from that. Oh, hello, Nita. Nita or Nita? Hello, either way. And as I said before, anybody, if you want to let me know where you're at. I'm always curious where people are at around the world. I'm looking at the energy for the EU in through 2023, the economy overall. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling much more tingle over here. I think that it's definitely a different feeling when I show this on camera and I'm telling you that I'm looking at the economy for the EU. So I really believe that I'm not the only one doing this reading too. You are assisting by putting your attention on the economy of the EU. Okay, here we go. And I'm seeing the Nine of Cups. Overall, this is a pretty optimistic card. So I think coupled with um, the other cards I've done, the UK's economy and Italy's economy, overall it looks more positive in 2023. The economy, the energy. Um, yeah, I think I talked about how the economy is a very big thing, and my readings haven't always been accurate. But I think with three different regions and three different cards all looking more optimistic, I would say overall this looks like a pattern for the EU, that a more healthier economy in 2023 that I'm seeing. Um, let's take a look at, I don't know, are we ready to look at the Ukraine war? I guess we will. So I think I'm going to begin with Ukraine war. I'll have you look down. Ukraine war. First, let's look through the end of this year. What kind of energy we can expect? Okay, over here again. And I think my overall reading on the Ukraine war that I did way back in, I believe, January, has been overall accurate. The only, I think, thing that I didn't read as well as I would have liked is the duration. Like in that initial reading, I did see that it would last quite a lot of 2022, but in subsequent readings, when I looked at Putin and so on, the energy seemed to indicate that it would be over. And I feel like what I was reading was that a lot of people were ready for it to be over, but that doesn't mean it's going to be over. It's not just one, even the collective will of a lot of people. It's in the hands of very few people. Okay, so Ukraine war in 2022, the next 2 months, and then I'll look at 2023. I believe we're about on day, 250 is what I saw for this war. It began on February 24th. Is that the official start date? Okay, right here. All right, so this is the card that I refer to as up in the air. It's the Eight of Wands. It is, yeah, it's very indeterminate. And I say this a lot, some people, when they want a tarot reading or they want a psychic reading, they want to know what happens in the future, as if the future is written in stone. And I've said before, that's not my perspective. And I'm not saying that the future isn't written in stone. I'm saying that there are many possible paths and many different futures. The idea of a multiverse has really been popularized in the last few years. I mean, it's been around since, I don't know, when it first showed up in the 50s, I believe. And it was like in a science fiction story, but it's grown in popularity, and now it's like in like that Doctor Strange movie and other movies, like they just throw it out and it's become a common term. But I'm not sure how I don't want to believe. I don't think. I think it's good to have like be ambiguous about your beliefs, like not to say like yes, the future is determined, or no, the future is not determined. Like be open to both ideas, but I think if you take away the idea that you have some control and some issue, not issue, some ability to affect things and have an effect on things, then if you, it's, I don't. That's just my perspective on tarot reading. So when I say things are up in the air, I think that we have a possibility, like our energies are going to be affecting this as well, and that if we just resign ourselves to one way or the other and don't do anything, then that's part of the overall energy. And I don't know, I don't want to do that. I want a very dynamic energy in which I play a role, in which you play a role, in which everybody plays a role, and that allows things to come together. With this card, the Seven of Wands, you notice it's like seven arrows kind of in the air at one moment. And I see it kind of as they've been fired and they're heading towards the ground, and where they're going to strike and whether they're all going to strike together is to be determined. And there's a lot of high energy involved with this. So I think, yeah, I wouldn't say that anything is determined at this point. Like I've heard so many different things that some people say, oh, Russia's economy is hurting and they want to end this war. I've heard other people say like neither side's going to budge. So with this, there's still just way too much. This is like there are cards that are very deterministic and that are much harder to sway. This card is not that. This card, things could go any way still. There's so much raw energy. It can move in any direction at any moment. So that's what I see for the remainder of 2022. Let's look at 2023. And again, this is for Ukraine war. Whether the Ukraine war will be a thing in 2023. And any other Europe-related issues or other issues in the world, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. I'm not feeling a strong energy, which could be an indication that the Ukraine war will not be a very active thing in 2023. I'm feeling like a general energy though, yeah, right in here. And I think I'll look at Russia after this. I want to see a little more about their current state. Some people say that Putin is on his way out, like he's too at odds with his own people at this point. We'll find out. The difference between these two cards, it's so clear that this is the card. All right. Interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing for Ukraine war in 2023 this, which is the Five of Wands. And I see I'm reading the comments. So first, curls and makeup. When you think about the Ukraine war, yeah, I'll look at that. I will look more at nuclear war. When I did the reading earlier this year about nuclear war, the possible use that Russia would use nuclear weapons, for this year, I did not see that. And there have been, there have been so much going back and forth with people making threats and veiled threats between the U.S. and Russia and so on. But it seems like, I mean, that has been fairly accurate, though. I mean, not fairly accurate. It's been accurate so far that there has been no nuclear weapon use, which is somewhat astonishing. But I'm going to look in 2023 and beyond to see if there's any possibility of nuclear weapon use. There's also been talk about Ukraine using, I'm not totally familiar with the technology, but like it's called a dirty bomb, in which I don't totally understand it, but some form of nuclear. It doesn't sound like a missile, but I'll look at that as well. But anyways, back to this. So this was Ukraine war in 2023. What this card usually means is that somebody is coming to power and taking a lead in a race. And with this, yeah, I was thinking for a second whether I was feeling like the victor, which is usually this guy, if it feels more like Russia or Ukraine. And it feels actually more like Ukraine. Yeah, that feels more like that. And I'm feeling like I'm getting like an image of like February, March, that area. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Mark, I see your comment about you can feel energy moving across your face as I move my hand across the cards. Is that possible? I don't know if it is. If you're feeling it, I guess it is. um, I swear, when I do these readings with you guys watching, I feel energy that I don't feel when I do these on my own. I mean, when I do them on my own, I feel them, but it's very. I was astonished when I first did this live reading, which is why I love these live readings, because, yeah, it's remarkable to me. I have a lot of ideas too, Bert, for the future direction of these live readings, so don't expect them to stay the same, but just to say a lot of things are coming. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because, yeah, a lot of things. I passed 1,200 subscribers today, which isn't a lot, but, I've started this channel at the end of last year, and it's grown remarkably. Like, compared to my other channel, I have two other channels, if you don't know, and one is just kind of, I talk about books and movies or whatever, and one is a music channel. And it's fascinating because my main channel, my original channel, YouTube shows me the kind of general analytics of who the audience is. I mean, it's not going to tell me your name or anything, but it's telling me like who, like what country you're from, not you, but like the audience as a whole, like where my largest sources of people are, and genders too, which is interesting, and ages, and oh, thank you, Christy. Yeah, and so the point is, though, on my other channel, my main channel, it's like 3/4 male, and mostly younger male, like 18 to 34 male. This channel, the Magic channel, is mostly female, and like kind of middle-aged female. Like, I don't think middle-aged, but like 25 to 45 female. So it's fascinating that I get to speak to two different audiences, and I love both channels. I love just interacting with all different kinds of people. So this is a very different channel, and it's a very different experience for me, and hopefully for you too. So yeah, so with that Ukraine war, I am seeing, yeah, that's what I'm seeing, like more positive towards Ukraine, and I was seeing like February, March, something in that area. Hopefully, I mean, I would love to be wrong and have it in sooner. Let's take a look, at nuclear weapons. Can we expect any nuclear weapons in this war? And again, I don't think... it is, I've talked about this before, how it is a miracle that we've gone so long without using nuclear weapons in war. And I want to say, you can look this up online. I want to say that the actual number of nuclear weapons that have been detonated on Earth, does anyone have any idea? If you just had to guess, and not in war, just like, nuclear weapon tests that they did in, in the New Mexico desert and the Pacific Ocean when they did all those, like in the 50s, they were testing hydrogen bombs out, and they destroyed like so many islands and stuff. But overall, like, how many nuclear weapons do you think have been used in history, like have been set off on planet Earth? If you just had to guess. I don't have the exact number, but I think from what I remember, and this is pretty close to accurate, it's like 2,000 nuclear weapons. Kind of blew my mind. You think about all the radiation that's been released, and who knows how that has affected the health of people on Earth, the environment, and so on. And we have thousands of more nuclear weapons that could be used at any time. And somehow we've managed to go throughout history with only using how many nuclear weapons in war? 2? In Hiroshima and Nagasaki? So that's kind of astonishing. And how long can that go on before the AI takes over and manages our nuclear weapons better than we can? I should do a reading on AI at some point, because that's something that is always coming up. That's something I've been thinking about, because people want to know what's going to happen with AI. It's something we feel is inevitable. Is it inevitable? Some people say it's not, that computers will never have a general intelligence on par with humans. That's something worth looking at, and whether, when it does happen, is it going to be something that just destroys us all? There's a lot of fear about that. I'm not drinking alcohol, by the way. I'm drinking tea. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Thank you, Christy. Yes, AI would be interesting. I'm very interested in, like, that's something that's fascinating to me. I think a lot of people, especially in the quote unquote new age world, are very but they're not really interested in science and technology and stuff. But I think all that is so connected to this expanding feeling of. I was thinking today about how a lot of people, this is kind of a recurring theme in media and social media, that the world is becoming crazier. The world is becoming, like I said, just there's more and more crazy people out there. And my take on that is that it's not that people are becoming crazier and doing crazier things. It's that the expression that I think is that I kind of phrase it in my mind is the walls came tumbling down. And what I mean by that is the barriers between minds are kind of coming down, and that I've talked a lot about the stages of consciousness and stages of development, and the idea that you think about your own life when you were younger, and I was thinking about, like, the way kids behave. They do stupid things, they say stupid things that are mean to each other, and it's not surprising when a lot of that shows up on the internet, because not only are there adults that are not very developed that have access to media, but literally kids are on the internet too and leaving comments. So not just adults acting like kids, but kids are, commenting and interacting online in ways that are affecting the overall, Overton window of what people discuss and how people interact. So in some ways, adults are becoming like kids, and they have to interact with that level of energy. But in another way, kids are, like, the really intelligent kids, they're acting like adults, and they're affecting the online world, making websites, doing things, and so on, in a very powerful and creative way. So we've kind of open this Pandora's box in which more and more people can put their energy online and interact with the minds of others. And I say that like our media is what is basically making us all more psychic, and that we're all suddenly aware of what's happening on the other side of the planet, and tiny little news details like I think most of you probably heard about that stampede in South Korea, but I mean, imagine like 200 years ago, 200 years ago, like if there was a stampede in South Korea, you wouldn't even hear about it if you, unless you were in South Korea. But if you were like in England or America, you would not hear about that. That would be something that was remote. But now all of a sudden, we're attuned to all of these, the world brain, and uh, when you're suddenly exposed to all these different levels of energy at once, yeah, it can seem like the world is crazy, but um, I don't know. I have an optimistic outlook. Maybe not in the short term, maybe not in the next 10 years, but I think beyond that, I do have an optimistic outlook, and maybe that's just because I don't know. There's still a lot of great things about the world, and a lot of. Have I been talking for 53 minutes? Is that right? No, I was on before I had a placeholder card before I began this. Um, yeah, anyway, so let's get back to the reading. What was I talking about? I have a tendency to sometimes just babble on, but what have I not addressed? Oh yeah, nuclear weapons. That's why I got off on this tangent. So let's look at again the potential for nuclear weapons in the Ukraine war, and jump back to this. When I began this channel last year, I was still using marijuana because I've used marijuana off and on over the years. But this year, I haven't done any marijuana, and I think I was kind of afraid that when I first started doing these readings, because when I'm high, I'm even more attuned to these energies, and I feel like I'm more accurate. But I've learned to just do it without anything. I can just do it naturally, and I still like to alter my consciousness. I meditated today, but with or without marijuana, I can do it. Oh, but the point is, if I ever do these readings again online with marijuana, I'd be curious to try that. But at present, I'm not in a country where marijuana is legal, so I'm not going to. But look forward to that in the future. So again, I'm looking at nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Yeah, the energy's over here. I'm not getting a strong reading. Okay. It's in here. Right here. Okay. So I'm seeing the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is about kind of somebody who feels that they have kind of made a really good strategy. They're kind of proud of their maneuver. I'm seeing with this, when I see a character, I always kind of relax into it and feel like, who is this character? And with this, I'm feeling this is Ukraine. Coupled with the reading I did earlier, that seemed to suggest that around February, March, this thing could be wrapped. I'm seeing that basically Ukraine is going to actually come out better in this situation, or maybe not better, because the effect on their economy and the overall effect of the war hasn't been positive, clearly. But that they're able to somehow kind of keep Russia from using nuclear weapons. I'm not seeing nuclear weapons, which I think is, I hope you would agree, is good. Um, yeah, I'm seeing them kind of like, what would be the term for that? When they're kind of they're taking, not taking the arsenal, but they're taking Russia's ability to do that. They basically maneuvered Russia to a place where, for that Russia to use nuclear weapons, I mean, first off, Russia claims to to have those 4 regions that they claim to have taken back. So for Russia to use nuclear weapons on its own, quote unquote, its own, I really put that in quotes, its own country, um, would be kind of hypocritical. So I think maybe that's what I'm seeing here with this. But I do not see nuclear weapons in Russia in the Ukraine war. So yeah, that's good. Let's take a look at Russia's economy, because I've heard different things about this, and I'm curious to see Russia's economy basically through. Why don't I look between now and March, which is again when I see a transition out of this Ukraine war. Looking at the economy of Russia. All right. Actually, hold on. There's 2 cards right there. Interesting. So, the strength card is all about restraint. And in terms of the Russian economy, though, so I think this again, I'm seeing this more as the war, like Russia's ability to sustain that war and have that war and, want that war. But also this is the more, logical and practical side of things that recognizes that this war isn't going anywhere, and the longer it draws out, the worse it's going to be for the economy. So I think, yeah, so I'm seeing with this, and again, those previous cards about this winding down in February, March, is that basically Putin, or I don't know, other higher ups that are not happy with Putin that may be able to have influence on Putin or somehow affect this. But overall, the people in the government of Russia are, restraining that desire to have that war and pulling back from it. And because that's basically what's slowing the economy down. And yeah, I think there's this recognition that the economy is hurting until this war is kept under control. So I think as long as, like, between now and February, March, the economy is just basically going to limp along as this energy dampens the war until it slowly ends. Yeah, that's what I'm saying with that. I wanted to look at Putin, his current state, his state of mind, his state of whatever. Get a clear vision. Sometimes I don't even need to know anything about what he's what he wants or does. I want to know his character. And these cards, I often do these readings with both people that I know and people in the media or in the news, you get a clear vision of who they are and what their situation is and what they're aiming for. Because when I did this reading back in, I believe, January or February, I saw the Emperor. That was a very clear characteristic of Putin back then, but I think a lot has changed since the 250 or whatever days of this war. So where is Putin right now? What is his state of mind? His character. Because a lot of times, as I say, I'm an energy reader, and I see the tapestry of the story of these events, and when I can see the characters, it's just a lot easier to figure out what they're going to do. So I'm not like seeing the future in the sense that I mean, every now and then I do see things like when I see February and March, I feel that energy there, but usually I don't see pictures of the future and things happening. I see the present, but I see it more clearly, and that allows me to tap into the future. I'm looking for Vladimir Putin. Okay, here we go. Right in here somewhere. Spreading these out so I can get a clearer read. All right, here we go. Interesting. So, again, I was looking at Putin, his character, and this is an interesting card to come up for a character because it's not a clear character. There's no clear figure in this. I mean, there are figures, but I don't consider any of them primarily characters. This card, Wheel of Fortune, if it comes up in a personal reading, this card is usually about fortune in the sense that something is going to manifest into your world that is usually beneficial and usually exciting and positive. But in terms of a character, I'm seeing this maybe as, yeah, I don't want to say like speak into it until I can read it a little more clearly. So I'm seeing like Putin kind of see that compared to the Emperor is more kind of stuck in his ways and more past oriented, more just more obstinate and unwilling to change. This card is much more fluid. So if Putin is able to step into this energy, I think it's overall good because it means that he does recognize that he has that ability to change and move into a different direction, which is positive. So I think maybe this could be what leads to this winding down of this war, seeing and recognizing that the economy, basically if he can restrain his own impulses. I was reading something about, have you guys heard this, that Putin drinks a lot? I don't know how true that is, but that he himself talks about it, which is interesting. I'm not sure if there's anything else about Russia and the Ukraine war. If you guys have any more questions about that or about anything else, like I said, in the Europe or the UK that you'd like to know, UK is part of Europe, but I was going to look at, so if you're just joining or haven't seen all of this, I've already done, you can look at the earlier parts of the video. I read about the UK and UK's economy under Rishi Sunak. I took a look at Italy. I took a look at the overall economy and energy for Europe. I took a look at the Ukraine and the energy I see coming with that war and with Russia and Putin. And yeah, I think I'll take a quick look at Israel. Again, not part of Europe, but close enough that it affects Europe, certainly. Why don't I take a look at whether Netanyahu will continue in power or not. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that I'm doing the reading like this. All right, so looking for Netanyahu's energy in Israel in the coming year, in this election. All right, it took a while. Interesting. All right, so for Netanyahu, I'm seeing the Nine of Pentacles. Hello, Leslie Cannon from Boston. Welcome if you're just joining. So again, I was looking at Netanyahu for Israel, his potential for staying on. This is a very relaxed energy, but considering he's had power in Israel for quite a while. I can't remember when he first began, but quite a while. And in this instance, this can be a low energy card, but it's also a very stable card. So I think he has a pretty strong chance. I would say I do see this as a continuation of him in power in Israel. Yeah, again, I'm not an expert on Israeli politics, but I did want to see that energy. Yeah, I think those are the main things I wanted to cover. If anyone has any other questions you'd like me to do a reading on real quick, just let me know. Either news related. I can also do personal tarot readings over chat. Just if you have an issue or something you want a quick reading on, let me know. I've said before that I am still looking. I'm trying to get. I don't know how. I mean, in real life, the people I know that usually, for the most part, unless people I know do YouTube, they don't usually want to be in a YouTube video. But I am still looking for people that would like to come on via Zoom or whatever and do a tarot reading addressing some issue. I'm offering it totally free if anyone wants to come. Not right now, but I mean, in a future tarot video. Basically, all you have to do is contact me. Just direct message me on Instagram. My information is in the info for this video, and we'll arrange to have you come on. But I also, of course, do readings on SuperPeer, as I mention all the time. And yeah, if nobody has any other questions, I'll wrap this up. But I think that's all I really wanted to go over for Europe. Leslie Cannon, any good Chaos Magic book recommendations? Yeah, I have a lot of book recommendations. What I haven't mentioned though that is really good that I've it's not a book exactly, but I've mentioned I don't know if I've mentioned actually on this channel, but I don't know if you know Grant Morrison. He's a writer, but he has a Substack that I've been reading. He just published like a 3-part don't know why I need to put three, like you don't know what the number three is. A three-part series on his Substack that's free. Let me see if I can find the link real quick. It's really good. I haven't read it all, but the first part I read, I thought it was very good. And yeah, it's very powerful stuff. Xanadu is the name of his Substack. So if you look, I'll put the link in the chat. But it's called Beyond the Word and the Fool, and there's three parts. It's kind of weird how Substack arranges information, but I think you can figure it out. Here's I'll put it in the chat right now, and how do I leave them? I moved the chat. Now I don't know how to leave a comment in my own chat. I think I have to go back to. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so if you go to his Substack, and it's called the name of the actual thing is called the Word, Beyond the Word and the Fool, and there's three parts to it, and what I've read is really good. Beyond the Word and the Fool. Yeah, Grant Morrison is kind of the one that I think Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, and Robert Anton Wilson and Thomas Pynchon were the writers that really got me into ideas about magic, and yeah, very powerful stuff. Like I was reading Grant Morrison and Alan Moore when I was a teenager, and then I got into Robert Anton Wilson's books are very good. Probably Prometheus Rising is the one I would recommend most for nonfiction. But his fiction is really great as well. I mean, all his books are great, and they all kind of cover the similar material. I mean, I've read other authors, Phil Hine, when I was younger, but I don't know. I find I'm really looking forward to this book Alan Moore has coming out called The Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic, but they've been talking about that for years and it still hasn't come out yet. Overall, my approach to magic has been very just like try things. My making videos has been extremely magical. Like I recommend everybody start a channel, I mean, not everybody wants to do social media. I understand that, but I'm just saying that it is very powerful. And yeah, like the feeling of there's something about creating video in particular that is very, it's magic. It's very powerful, and it allows you to reach a lot of people very quickly. So I recommend people start doing that. But there's a million ways to do magic for every personality and every lifestyle. And yeah, I want to do more magic related videos in the future and teaching this stuff, because I've talked about this before, that I like doing predictions, I like doing tarot readings, but I really want people to do magic themselves. I think everyone can and should do some kind of magic. It can be as, weird and out there as you want it to be, or it can be very down to earth, but it's basically just a way of, like I talk about with tarot cards, it allows you to see energies and see things that you would otherwise miss, and just take your life in interesting directions. I think in some ways I feel like well, I could talk about this some other time. I don't want to bore people with it, but I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't be here on this channel without magic, obviously, but it's something it's drawing more and more people towards, and that even people like corporations and politicians and all these like fringe groups are using magic in different ways, and if you don't do magic, they're going to be doing magic on you. And so it's like the best way you can kind of defend yourself and prepare yourself for navigating this world that gets like I said, it seems to be getting stranger. I don't want to say crazier, but it seems to be getting stranger every day in a lot of ways. But if you actually engage with this magic and stuff, I've gotten. I mean, I'm really interested in the Tree of Life and Hermetic Kabbalah. There's a book. I could talk about books all day, but there's another one I read called. I'm blanking on the name. I don't have it anymore. Problem is, I'm traveling now and I don't have any physical books, but I don't know. It'll come to me in another time. Ask me in another reading. But yeah, there's so many great resources. I mean, I think a lot of people think that you have to learn all this esoteric stuff to do magic, and that has not been my experience. You can study Kabbalah and all these other things all your whole life, but I find that I just got really interested in the idea of personal development, and I'm really interested in science and math and things like that. So I don't think anything has to be at odds with magic. It's really about your own experience and what is really drawing you, and bringing that into like channeling that into the world in an artistic way. That magic is an art, and it's making the world more fun and more uh, exciting. It should be. I think the strangeness that is part of the world and is becoming more part of the world. There's like good strangeness, and then there's bad strangeness. And as a magician, your job is to decide what that strangeness means, and how it can what it can mean for others. And I'm always excited about uh, all the different possibilities that different ways of living that are possible nowadays. And I've been living in Airbnbs for the last 3 months, and that wouldn't have been possible 15, 20 years ago. And yeah, it's a fascinating world we live in today, and I enjoy it. And even if it's sometimes challenging and strange, it's still very interesting. I don't think anyone can deny that. Um, yeah, so that's the end of my spiel. I think I'm going to wrap this up, but thank you all so much for showing up. I don't know, because I am changing cities and countries this week, but uh, I've been doing these almost every day. I don't know, there may be a slight break, but after that, I am going to be getting, I think around November 8th, I will be arriving in Asia, and then I will be staying for 30 something days in one place. So that'll allow me to have some level of regularity, I think, with these streams. I'm really enjoying them. I think they're a lot of fun, and yeah, feel free to show up for the next one. And sometimes I announce them, sometimes I just kind of do them spontaneously. If I'm not doing them at your time, the time in your time zone, wherever you're at, just know that I'm going to be doing them at all kinds of different times. And even if you miss them, you can always watch them in the replay. Anyways, that's all for now, and thank you very much. Bye bye.